Roald Dahl is the author of some of the greatest stories in both children and adult literature. His tales are known mostly for their unexpected twists and quite dark sense of humour. Born in Cardiff 1916, Roald's life would be a wide collection of experiences since the very beginning of it. With 9 years old, he attended a boarding school. With 18, he became an explorer. Years later, he would work for the petrol company Shell and fight in World War II as a pilot of the Royal Air Force. Not to forget that he also got happily married and had 5 children. Roald Dahl's stories were written in the 40s and aimed at adult readers. It wouldn't be until the 60s when he discovered his passion for children's storytelling.
I think writing for children is far more exciting because you have an audience that responds in all sorts of immediate and tangible ways. My mail, for instance, you don't get mail from adults.
In most of these great stories for children, food plays an important role.
Here we go. Smells chocolatey, eh? Now, eat it.
I don't want any, thank you.
Eat it!
We have seen the example of his novel Matilda, when the episode of Bruce and the Cake occupies a whole chapter. But not only in Matilda does chocolate become an important part of the story.
You found Wonka's last golden ticket!
In Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, 5 children win the privilege of exploring the best chocolate factory in the world, Wonka's Chocolate Factory. It's interesting to know that the story was inspired by the sweets that a real chocolate factory brought to Roald Dahl's boarding school when he was just a kid. In the book, which would later be adapted to a film, the characters navigate in a sugar boat through a river of chocolate, discover a whole room in which absolutely everything, even the grass, is eatable, and later on they taste a gun that contains a whole meal inside it. And that ends up turning one of the characters, Violet Volgard, into a giant blueberry.
What's happening to me?
She's swelling up.
Like a blueberry.
We find another giant fruit in James and the Giant Peach. This book tells the story of James, an orphan that magically and accidentally makes a peach grow enormously. He later meets a group of giant insects inside the delicious fruit, which he also uses as a vehicle to travel through land, air and water. Another Roald Dahl story filled with food is Fantastic Mr. Fox, story that narrates the adventures of a wild fox that lives nearby the 3 meanest farmers of the zone, Boggies, Bounce and Bean. Mr. Fox can't resist the temptation of stealing the specialities of each one of the farmers, Boggins chickens, Bounce gooses and ducks, and Bean's turkeys and secret cider. Of course, this will lead him and his family, friends and neighbors into some serious trouble. In the BFG, Big Friendly Giant, the protagonist, a nice giant, lives alone on a terrible vegetable that looks like a giant pickle, the snoozecumber, as he doesn't approve eating human beans, as he calls them. The only drink that he takes, Frop Scuttle, is on the contrary delicious and causes whiz poppers, which is the word that the Big Friendly Giant uses to name farts. Other books where the presence of food is remarkable are, for example, Danny and the Champion of the World, which is about the hunting of pheasants through curious methods such as attracting them with racings. Or for example, The Tweets, where a chapter narrates how one of the Tweets mixes worms with spaghetti to play a prank on the other. Many of the dishes mentioned in the books appear in Roald Dahl's Revolting Recipes, a cookbook for children to enjoy with their parents that proves completely the author's obsession with food.
I would like to